Yo, enduring name. Back from the Black Ops 2 Extra XP weekend, which is pretty much why I didn't make a video. Yeah, let's get started. So this is the Chicago Blackhawks emblem, and there were really one or two approaches I could have taken. One of those approaches was make a very general version of the logo, and kind of leave out a lot of little detail. Or another version that I could have done, which is the one I did do, was to try to have as much detail as possible, but perhaps leave out a section of the logo, which is what I do. I kind of leave out a lot of the feathers on the back of the logo's head. So just know that. Okay, right now I'm just creating his face, and again, if I did like a more general version, I probably would have made his face like a. I probably would have used like two tools for his whole face, maybe like a circle and maybe something for the nose. But I use a lot of different tools for the head just to make it look a lot more like an actual head. So the reason it's kind of multicolored right now, I've said this before, is just because I do that to allow me to see the tools easier. That white piece is the hair. So if you look at the actual logo, you'll notice like kind of the curvy hair. Like the hair curves just like it does with that tool. So here I'm just adjusting things and changing the colors to the I guess the final yellow color. Right there, that's going to serve as the neck and also to fill in the gap in his face. So just make that tool that I just manipulated, that rectangle, fill in that gap while also serving as his neck. Those first four tools, by the way, the reason I used those was to, I've already said to give it more detail, but basically to kind of, define the chin, then define the lips, the bottom lip and the nose. Those first four tools. So here we're just giving some separation between the neck and the chin, or the jaw, really. And with this tool, we're just going to finish off the hair. We're going to make it come down all the way to the bottom. Honestly, this is one of the I guess shoddier emblems I've done because there is a lot going on, and I cut some major corners throughout the video. Okay, that's going to be the final hair piece. And if you look at the logo, you'll notice why I do that. It's because the very tip of his hair kind of puffs upward. So here I'm just doing some alignment. I'm moving the mouth maybe a little bit higher. So for the mouth, to finish off the mouth, use a W for kind of his smile. Again, in the actual logo, it's kind of like a distorted W that's at the end of his mouth. You can look at it that way, and that's what I try to do. Just stretch out that W a little bit and put it at the tip of his mouth. So the adjustments I made right there were just to bring the hair back a little bit and more in line with the forehead, if that makes sense. And there are going to be some pauses in this video. I was kind of doing some other things along with recording, so there are momentary pauses. You can just skip through those. I think I'm about to work on the nose and the eyes, or the eye. Right there I just made the nose maybe a little more pointy. So yeah, kind of a long pause without really anything productive. But hopefully that'll change soon. Okay, and here I build the eye. So for the eye, just use that private symbol and squish it down, and you have the eye socket. And then the pupil, for the pupil, it's kind of funny in the actual logo, the pupil looks like it's kind of extending out of the eye socket. And we're going to use that piece right there just to extend it a little bit. Try to make sure the layers, try to make sure your pieces are on the same layer as mine. Again, if you'll notice that white piece that I just used for the white color of the eye, it's above the eye socket tool, but it's below that, I guess, the pupil tool, if you know what I mean. It's between those two. And then for the eyebrow, use that tool, stretch it out just a tad. Okay, for the nose, I'm going to use like a cropping out type of strategy. Lay that black piece exactly how I've laid it, and we're going to copy and paste and make a yellow version of it, and then move it up slightly to the left. And that'll give us part of that curvature that you see in the nose. And then to give the rest of the curvature, we're going to use you'll see, that tool. Squish it down and put an end of that onto the end of the nose that we've already created. And that's all I do for the nose. I know for the nose there's there's like one other piece I kind of left out, but yeah, just a ton of compromises I have to make with such an intricate logo. And there I just make the nose a little bit sharper. Okay, now making that little cheekbone, we're going to use the same tool that we used last time for the tip of the nose, or not the tip of the nose, but the nostril. Just lay it out like so. Then for his two sections of face paint, yeah, that's coming up. We use a heart for that bottom section. And then you're going to make a circle, and then you're going to squish it down into more of an oval shape, and then you're going to lay it over the heart. and that gives us one of the war paint sections that's on his chin. And then for the other war paint section, it's about just as simplistic. I'm just going to use a letter similar to what I used for the end of the mouth. I'm going to use an M. Just stretch it out. And then underneath that M, we're going to use a semicircle, or not a semicircle, sorry, an oval, like we used for the other war paint, and have it be under the M, and just stretch it out, and you're good to go for that section of the war paint. So you might think I've made compromises, a lot of compromises already, but for the hair it gets a little worse. For the hair I make even a bigger compromise, and you'll see that in a second. And here, of course, I try to knock that section of the face off with just one tool. If I'd gone for the exact look of the logo, I would have had to use like 3 tools there. And same for the hair. For this yellow section of the hair, just use the nuclear symbol. I think it's the nuclear symbol. Yeah, and just stretch it out and make it yellow. And I really didn't want to get into all the squiggly lines. That would have taken so many layers. So I use a massive shortcut there. So now use the pentagon and stretch it out a bit and place it on the back of your area, and that's going to serve as the feather. Then what you're going to do is copy and paste that same pentagon, make that second pentagon green, and then you're going to press like start on the pentagon to make the outline. So it's going to give it that green outline that you see in the logo. And really, a lot of what I'm doing, like a lot of choices I make in this logo, are kind of arbitrary. Why didn't I decide to give the full detail to the nose instead of, why didn't I do that instead of giving full detail to the back feather? Or why did I use the cheekbone? Why waste a layer on the cheekbone when you could have used that layer to go toward making something else more detailed? And it's so arbitrary. Yeah. So that's the ear with the earring. No, it's not really an ear, just an earring. Yeah, and to give the feather a little more detail, I just use that white piece and squish it down. Really, you could use anything. You could also use like the ladder. There's like a ladder tool you could use to give some white to that feather, but I just use that either way. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's really the best shot I had at it. Again, I went for as much little detail as possible, aside from the fact that it doesn't give you the full logo. And if you're not comfortable with that, if you want the full logo but just less detail, let me know. Okay, well, that's it. Again, if you see anything that you might want to change, if you don't want to waste a layer on the cheekbone and you want to get more detailed with maybe the hair or something, feel free, of course. These are just the decisions I decided to make. So, stay tuned for more videos. I'm taking suggestions, and I hope this helped. Later.